my briefcase?
Your briefcase? Yeah, it is. Why, you want it back?
How about your wallet?
What else you got for me? Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the H&K.
I hope you guys like that that little dramatic intro. So anyway, Timmy Ray Tactical here. I'm doing a review on one of the most amazing firearms you could purchase. This is the H&K USP. Now, it's not very cheap, but we'll go over that later. So the main reason I bought this firearm, don't laugh, is because I saw the movie Collateral. That is one of the most one of Tom Cruise's most amazing performances. So if you guys haven't seen that, you need to watch it. It's an amazing movie. But anyway, I saw that, and the firearm looked so aggressive. It was interesting. And then I did a bunch of research on Michael Mann, which was the director of the film, and how he actually trained Tom Cruise with the USP. So after looking at that and reading research about how they put it through extensive tests of over 30,000 rounds of plus P ammunition and managed to mimic a squib load, and it still fired, I wanted the gun. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted the gun. So I purchased it, and before I purchased it, I went into the store to hold it, and oh my god, it's amazing. So we're gonna go over some of the controls first. One of the weirdest gripes about this firearm is the magazine release is not actually integrated into the hand grip. It's actually a little paddle. I mean, it's a German gun, so the Germans do things a little bit differently. Okay, oh, that sound, oh my goodness. So see, we're not loaded, and then I'll always do a physical sweep, just, it's good practice. And this, decock. I love this gun. So it's got a decocker, and it's got an amazing trigger. So once you go into single action mode, this is actually amazing. Sorry guys, I know I'm filming on my iPhone and the Tactimobile, so my view is a little limited, so I'll kind of try to produce it as much as I can. So there you go, the trigger's into single action, which if you guys have seen my Ruger GP100 review, that's one of the most sexiest things to see on a gun, in my opinion, is when you go to pull back the hammer and it goes into single action. But anyway, just look at the trigger pull, like it's extremely light, and then you have your reset. Now the weird thing about the reset that they say is that it's a bit spongy, which it is. So you've got this creep, but you know when it's gonna break. It's got this creep, and then it breaks. And then of course double action is also a bit heavier, but it's amazing. I would almost say double action is just under 10 pounds. I mean, it feels amazing. Another feature this one has is you can carry it cocked and locked, which if you prefer single action, you can carry it cocked locked with the safety on, so that way you're going to be able to fire accurate shots, which some people prefer double action, but I mean when you're carrying around in the chamber, which is totally okay. But if you get in the heat of a situation where you need to use your firearm, sometimes accuracy is you lose that because you lose fine motoring skills. So any bit of assistance you can get from the firearm in terms of accuracy is also welcomed. So yeah. And then another thing I should have gone over before, sorry guys, I'm just so excited to do this review. It's chambered in 40. Now before you stop watching this video, I do dislike 40. When I had my shield, it kicked, it was extremely snappy, it felt like the gun wanted to kill you. Like it never wanted to be fired. It's like as soon as you pulled the trigger, the gun felt like it was going to blow up in your hand. Maybe that could have been a quality issue, because I'm telling you guys right now, this feels just like a 9mm. It feels like a plus P, to be fair. When I purchased this firearm, I took it to the range, and I shit you guys not, excuse my French. I fired 300 rounds. I mean, and it was funny because I went through, because you know you have 50 round increments. I bought a couple of boxes, and each time I would go through a whole box, I was like, you know what, this is fun. My hand doesn't hurt, my wrist doesn't hurt. I'm actually keyholing some of the holes on the target because I'm hitting so accurately. Let me do this again. So the range master was kind of laughing because I would come back with a new box of ammunition every time. And that's how smooth this gun shoots, especially for 40. So I really can't complain. Again, like I said, I would have rather have had it in 9mm, but because I already have a 45, that's my Glock 30. But I was like, you know, what the hell? This was my dream gun. So I was gonna take it any way I could. Okay, and another thing. So this firearm was built around 40, so that must have a lot to do with how it was, how it shoots. So despite what everyone tells you, its bigger brother, the Mark 23, I believe it is, which is chambered in 45. This gun was actually designed around 40. So if you buy the USP, buy the 40 variant. I'm not saying the other ones are bad. I believe the SOCOM went to the 45, if I'm not mistaken. But H&K just integrated so many features in the system that it's made for recoil reduction. I think they have some kind of spring system that cuts down a recoil like 30%. Enough of the talking though. I'll go ahead and take it down so you guys can see. So takedown is extremely kind of challenging. You need to line up the notches here, like such, and then on the other side, there's a button. Let me do this. There's a button there. So at the same time you're doing so, you need to push it through. So I may have to do this off camera for you guys. And then it just kind of pops out right here. Yeah. Like so. And then that's your bottom half. And then this is your recoil spring. It's got a dual recoil spring system, which you see this a lot in compact firearms. But to see it in a full size, that's like, okay, wow. So they must have gone above and beyond. So I'm not going to take this down completely because there's a little washer that's at the front. That's a bitch to get back in because it comes apart in like 5 pieces. You've got your barrel, your recoil spring, your barrel, your guide rod, your recoil spring, your secondary recoil spring, and then the washer. So it's kind of a bitch to get that back in. But this is pretty much, it takes down the same way. It operates the same way as the Browning lockup system, so it's pretty much conventional in that aspect, which means the tilting barrel. So yeah, that's that part. So just to put it back together, it's the same thing. You line up the rails like such, and then you get your slide release, and then you just pin it back. So always do your function checks too. All right, so sweet, love that gun. Again, it's amazing. So let's get to the price point. So when these first debuted, you were looking at $900 for one of these. As of 2 years ago, they dropped to $800. And then now you can find a good one with, you know, used, but in good condition for about, I would say, $700 something, which is right around what I paid for this one, about $780. So almost $8, I guess. So yeah, you're getting quality. So it is worth it. That's what I have to say about that. So if you have any question of price, especially because it's a polymer gun, I know some of you guys are like, $800 for a polymer plastic pistol? No, but it's totally fine. Again, it's built really well. It's just, there's just some things you just have to get used to. Like, a lot of people don't like, from a tactical standpoint, again, this magazine release, because it's like a paddle. So you have to adjust your grip, which, I mean, it's okay. Usually when you reload, you're going to adjust your grip. I mean, it's not like Call of Duty or a video game where you're just like aiming the whole time down your sights. I mean, a lot of the time you're gonna, you know, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. And if you're in a situation where you need to constantly reload, you should probably run instead of try to be Rambo. But that's another story. Capacity, you're looking at about 10 rounds. This one came with 10 rounds, or the 10 round magazine, excuse me. But they hold, I believe, 12 in the 40 variant. There's 12 and then there's 10. What's cool is they're polymer. Again, I'm going to separate the firearm from the magazine just because it's got ammo in it and I don't want to mix it here. It's got, this is the 10 rounder, so it's plastic. It's like the Glock. It's actually interesting how they did that. But I almost see why. It's because it's like, it has to do with corrosion. When you're out, you know, metal is just another thing that'll rust. So when you're out in the elements, or sweat, when sweat's on your body, the salt's extremely corrosive, which leads me to my other example. Sorry guys, I'm putting this in the back seat. The finish here is a nitrate finish, I believe it is. Similar to the Glock, but it's like more matte, more stronger against the harsh elements. So it's pretty much just a corrosion-proof coating H&K put on there. So yeah, that's that. There's also different variants. There's the newer one, which, because this came out, I believe, in the 90s, the mid-90s. So the way you can tell if this is a newer one is it would just say USP over here. And